Yes, I do feel that you need to be on treatment and take HIV pills and all that whole bit, because you got to be religious about taking care of yourself, or else, you're going to end up, falling into the low T cells, and then life is extremely hard and difficult. And you can live a normal, healthy life by having a strict regimen and going to all your appointments and just, taking responsibility for your disease to have good results.
Totally. Do you want to talk about your own T cells? Where they were back in
okay, well, yeah. I'll give you kind of the lifespan of my illness. In 2007, when I contracted AIDS, I was doing pretty good. I have diabetes as well, type 1, which I was more focused on. And then a couple years later, in about 2010, all of a sudden, because I wasn't keeping up on my appointments and I wasn't keeping track of the virus, I ended up going to a hospice because my T cells dropped to 12, which is really bad. And I had a number of other problems because of that. Because my immune system was so low, I developed KS, which is a skin cancer, which is like little lesions all over your body, and it can kill you. And also, I had some other diabetic-related problems that, I think might have, they came faster because of having such a low T cell count. But after I went into this hospice, basically, they got me on a strict regimen, and I started, really taking care of myself, and it turned my whole life around. And now I live in my own apartment, and, my T cells are above 500, and I'm undetectable. So, it's not always, people will tell you certain things when you go into a hospice or when you get really sick, that it's the end of the line, but it's not always the case at all. So I've seen many people go from a really low T cell count to a very high T cell count. There we go.
Yeah. What about with relation to staying undetectable and then having partners and spreading the virus?
One thing that struck me as strange is I didn't even realize this myself, because I tend to ignore, once I have something, I don't like to think about all the gory details, but it's good to know a certain amount of details, like the fact that when you're undetectable and you have a high T cell count, it's very unlikely to spread the AIDS, virus, but it's still possible. But when someone is under 200 T cells and you have unprotected sex with them or share a dirty needle, you are guaranteed, to get the virus. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Definitely. And then about stigma, do you talk about HIV, about your own status? How does that feel, and how was it, in your community? Because a lot of the people are positive. How was it?
A lot of people in my generation, because I didn't come from the, in the 80s when it was really scary, people are, act like it's no big deal when it's still a big deal, and they need to realize that, because, I don't just take one pill and that's it. I mean, I take...
How many do you take?
I don't know. I mean, I take about 20 at least. I can't remember. It's 8. I take about 14, but I also take a lot of other pills for other things. So I have a total of 30 pills. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, it's not as easy as people. People assume that everybody has it, so no big deal. Let's just have unprotected sex or not be careful. But it's still very dangerous, and it's still killing. I lost 6 people in the matter of 2 years.
Yep. How old were they?
Well, the youngest was 31, and the oldest, was in his 50s. So I mean,
but a lot of young.
Yeah, it's that's still too young and too fast, and
Yeah. Do you think that do some people take the disease for granted due to the prevalence of it in the gay community?
Yeah, they definitely take it for granted. They also, I think, another important thing to remember is involving drugs with this is a really bad idea. And a lot of people are like, who cares, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna do drugs, I'm gonna get high. But that's just a faster way to kill yourself. So I mean, I guess if you want to die, but I've seen so many people, especially that are still using drugs, it just accelerates your time left, and it ends very ugly, and it does not, has no mercy. So I mean, if you the more sober you are, the better.
And in your own life, do you want to talk about how you've adapted since kind of getting adherent and getting away from that type of lifestyle?
Well, yeah, I guess I after I found out I had it and I lost someone very close to me, and I had the opportunity to change my life, so I did. Not everybody has that opportunity, but there's still options out there, and and it just makes the quality of life better when you turn your life around. And you can't mix drugs and meds with each other, because they don't work once you do that. And you really can't get high it's not a very good high, and it doesn't help you take care of yourself either. So it's kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? It counteracts each other. So
and then one last question that we talked about was, what role has therapy played in your life, and how has HIV/AIDS informed your recovery?
Oh yeah, well, therapy has definitely helped a lot, because I learn something every time I come to therapy, something new. It helps educate me. Not to mention just talking about it and talking with people that are uncomfortable, or a lot of people will pretend to be comfortable with it when they're not. I mean, it's a new time. We're in the new century, but there's still people that act like you can get it from everywhere. And I had an experience when I went to school last year where my roommate was really paranoid of every little tiny germ, and was uncomfortable to be in my room. So I was really hit by that. I was blindsided by the fact that he was so uncomfortable and was asking other people about my HIV status and if he should use the same shower and everything like that. So there's still a lot of people that are uneducated, and they need therapy too.
Really?